You're buying a house? Lauren's fork paused midair, potato skewered on the tip like it was waiting for approval. I nodded once, thinking about it. Mom leaned in like she hadn't heard right. A house? With bedrooms? Just one for me. 2-bedroom. I took a sip of water. That's when it shifted. Let me back up for a second. My name's Mark Winslow. I'm 41. I live in Wilmington, North Carolina. I work remote logistics for a global parts company, nothing glamorous, but it pays well. And for most of my life, I've been the one in the family who kept things steady. That was my role. Until now. Oh, Lauren said, already recalibrating. You mean like a starter place? Or a rental? I didn't respond. Dad cleared his throat. Where at? I told them. Quiet neighborhood, good schools. 10 minutes from the park. Lauren's eyes lit up. Wait, that's near us. She turned to Mom. That'd be perfect for the kids. You could help with drop-offs. We could finally have family dinners again. I didn't say it was for anyone else, I said flatly. They blinked. Paused. Then Mom laughed like I was being modest. Mark, don't be silly. You don't need all that space. You work from home. You don't even like to entertain. I'm not buying a mansion, I said. It's a cottage. For me. Dad tried to keep the mood light. Sure, but we've all talked about you getting something that works for the family. 5 bedrooms would give you space for Lauren, the kids, the holidays. No, I said. Just one word. No drama. No smile. No excuses. That's when the silence finally landed. Heavy. Awkward. Real. Lauren's mouth twisted into that half-laugh she uses when she's pissed but pretending not to be. So what, you're just gonna live in this place alone? Yes. No one spoke for a moment. Then Lauren muttered, wow. That's cold. It was supposed to be Sunday dinner. But suddenly I was the villain for not sacrificing myself again. That's when I realized they didn't hear me say no because they'd never expected me to say anything at all. I was the one who kept quiet. Fixed things. Paid off debt. Took the calls when Lauren's marriage blew up. Helped Mom after her surgery. Co-signed the loan when Dad lost half his retirement to a startup he couldn't spell. But buying my own home? That was the betrayal. Lauren was the first to get emotional. She always is. After everything we've been through, she said, her voice tightening, you're just going to disappear into your little cottage like none of us exist? I didn't answer. You don't even like living alone, Mom added, as if she knew. You've always been a family person. No, I've always been your person. The one who got called when the car broke down, when the mortgage fell behind, when Lauren needed someone to watch her kids because her ex bailed again. I'd mistaken obligation for connection. Now that I was choosing myself, it felt like betrayal to them. We just thought, Dad started, that if you were buying, it would be something we could all use. He didn't say the word share. He didn't have to. I didn't ask for input, I said, still calm. I've already closed on it. You'd think I'd slap them. That was the moment the room turned. Lauren shoved back her chair. So that's it? No conversation, no heads up, just a secret house you buy behind everyone's back. It's not a secret, I replied. I just didn't tell you. That's different. She looked like she was about to cry. It wasn't sadness. It was rage that her assumptions didn't count anymore. You know what, she said, standing up, this is exactly why you don't have a family of your own. You're selfish. That one landed. Not because it was true, but because she believed it when she said it. I stood up slowly, picked up my jacket, looked at all 3 of them, Lauren, Mom, Dad. I'm going to live somewhere I don't have to apologize for existing. Then I walked out. No one followed. The messages started that night. First a text from Mom. We didn't mean to upset you. Can we talk? Then Lauren, predictably. This isn't how family works, Mark. You don't just walk away. I didn't respond. By morning, it turned into voicemails. Long ones. Guilt-packed, layered in concern but soaked in control. You're not acting like yourself, Mom said in one. Is this about something deeper? Dad asked in another. Lauren didn't bother with subtlety. You're being cruel. Cruel. After years of cleaning up their messes. After 2 decades of silence and support. 1 act of independence and suddenly I'm the problem. I moved the rest of my boxes out on a Tuesday. No fanfare. Just a rented van and a half-dozen trips between apartments. My new place sat on a quiet street with a white fence and a small front garden already overrun with weeds. I liked it that way. Imperfect. Quiet. Mine. No one helped me move. I didn't ask. That night, sitting on the bare floor with a slice of gas station pizza and a folding chair, I finally exhaled. No one needed anything from me. No one was waiting. It felt empty, but it also felt clean. The next day, Lauren showed up. No warning. Just the sound of her car door slamming outside and her voice calling my name through the screen door like it was still her right to be there. I just want to see it, she said. I mean, if we're going to be staying here. You're not, I said. That stopped her. She blinked, confused. What? You're not staying here. Not you. Not the kids. This house isn't for anyone else. She laughed like I was joking. When I didn't smile, her face changed. So what, we're strangers now? I opened the door just wide enough to hand her a piece of paper, a printed list of rental options in her area. All family-sized. All affordable. All not my problem. I already found you alternatives, I said. I figured that was coming. Her jaw clenched. You're unbelievable. No, Lauren, I said, voice low. I'm finally believable. That's what scares you. Then I closed the door. And this time she didn't knock again. The next attempt came through Dad. He called me 2 days later, tone low, like we were on opposing sides of a war he hadn't meant to start. Look, son. I get it. You needed space. That's fine. But this isn't you. This shutting down. This coldness. I'm not shutting down, I said. I'm setting boundaries. You've never needed to before. Exactly. That's the problem. I bought a house, I told him. That's all I did. And everyone reacted like I betrayed them. He was quiet. Then, you know your mother's not sleeping? She's worried sick. I almost laughed. She's not worried. She's offended. Same difference when it's family. No, I said. It really isn't. I got off the call before it turned into a monologue. I knew his rhythm too well, empathy up front, then guilt, then the reminder that family does for family even when it costs you everything. But this time I had no interest in bleeding for people who only noticed I existed when I stopped giving. That weekend I changed my number. No warning. No explanation. I kept my work line. And I left a forwarding email for bills and contracts. But for personal calls? I disappeared. A week later, Mom emailed me. No subject line. Just, if you think buying a house and blocking us makes you an adult, you're wrong. Adults don't abandon their families. I stared at it for a long time. Then I opened a reply window. Typed 5 words. I'm not your emergency fund. Then I deleted it. Didn't send. They didn't need a reply. They needed absence. It took 3 weeks for the silence to rattle them. That's when the campaign began. First, the indirect guilt. A photo Lauren posted of her kids at the park near my new house. The caption read, "Wish Uncle Mark still cared about family time." Tagged me even though she knew I wasn't checking. Then Mom posted an old picture of all of us at the beach from 10 years ago. Her caption was a masterpiece of manipulation. Some people forget where they came from. I remember every sacrifice made for this family. They never mentioned my name. But the message was clear, I was the villain now. I let them talk. Let the narrative twist. Because for once, I didn't feel the need to correct the record. I was busy. Unpacking. Repainting. Fixing the back steps myself. Quiet work that felt like progress. Everything in the house had weight because every part of it was mine, no one else's fingerprints on the decisions. Then came the real move, a letter. Handwritten. From Mom. Inside the envelope, a folded piece of notebook paper and a check. $2,000. The note read, I know things are tight. Please don't isolate yourself just because money's difficult right now. Let us help. Family means something even when you push it away. $2,000. To buy back control? They couldn't imagine a version of me that didn't need them, so they were trying to create the illusion that I still did. I ripped the check in half and mailed it back in a plain envelope. No note. That Sunday, I drove to the coast and sat on the dunes for hours. No phone. No sound but the wind. I wasn't angry. I wasn't hurt. I was clean. I knew the silence had finally landed when they stopped trying to pull me back in and started falling apart without me. The first real sign came from Lauren's husband. Or rather, ex-husband again. A vague Facebook update. Starting over. Some bridges weren't worth rebuilding after all. I didn't comment, but I knew what that meant. She was back at Mom and Dad's. Probably sleeping in the guest room. Probably counting on me to step in like before. I didn't. Then, midweek, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Voicemail transcript read, Hey Mark, it's Janine from First Community Bank. I'm calling about the co-signed auto loan for Lauren's SUV. We've had a couple of missed payments and just wanted to check. I blocked the number. She had 2 years left on that loan. And my name was still on it. That was my mistake. A leftover thread I hadn't cut clean. But I wasn't going to rush in this time. I wasn't going to fix it. Let the bank call her. Let the car get repossessed. Let her explain to her kids why Uncle Mark didn't bail her out. Because here's the thing they never understood. I was never trying to be cruel. I was just done being convenient. That weekend, I changed the locks on the house not because I thought they'd break in, but because Lauren still had a key. She'd never returned it after that Thanksgiving 3 years ago. She probably didn't remember. But I did. I replaced the doorbell with a video system. Installed a new security app. I wasn't barricading myself in. I was protecting peace. On Sunday night, just after dark, a message came in. A burner email. No subject. No greeting. Just, "We're your family. Why are you acting like we don't exist?" I didn't reply. But for a moment I stared at those words. And I thought, maybe that's the point. It wasn't the silence that wore them down. It was the fact that nothing broke without me. That's what they couldn't understand. No check arrived to fix their rent. No phone call soothed the latest family drama. No quiet older brother to buffer the chaos. 3 weeks in, I got a voicemail from Mom's friend, Rhonda. She didn't know I'd changed numbers. "Mark, honey," she said, clearly rehearsed, "your mom's just worried. She said Lauren's been really down lately. Maybe you could stop by. Doesn't have to be a big thing." That's how far they'd fallen, asking Rhonda to guilt-trip me. I didn't return the call. The next day, I got a text from a number I did recognize. "Lauren, the kids are asking about you. They miss you. Can we talk?" 10 words. No accountability. No apology. Just the implication that I was hurting children by refusing to be used. I let it sit. Then I deleted it. That weekend, I went to Lowe's and bought blackout curtains, a garden hose, a ceramic wind chime shaped like a bird, things I never would have spent money on before because someone else's emergency always came first. When I got back, a letter was taped to my front door. I knew the handwriting. It was Dad. "Mark, whatever this is, it's gone too far. We get that you're upset. But ignoring your family isn't the way to deal with it. We've been patient. But we deserve a conversation. We're owed that much." I stood there in the porch light for a long time. We're owed. That was the word that stuck. Like I was a subscription they'd paid into. A backup generator that failed to kick on when their power flickered. I didn't bring the letter inside. I walked it to the fire pit in the backyard and dropped it in. Watched it burn. Watched the smoke rise. Watched myself not care. They tried one more angle, shame disguised as concern. It came in the form of a sit-down, or at least an attempted one. I came home from work to find Lauren sitting on my porch steps. Hoodie. Sunglasses. No kids. She stood when I pulled into the driveway like it was still her place to rise and greet me. "I just want 5 minutes," she said. I didn't answer. Just walked past her, unlocked the front door. She followed. I let her. Inside, she looked around like she was seeing it for the first time, which she was. She never asked what the kitchen looked like, what the walls were painted, what I liked. She was never interested unless it benefited her. "I don't recognize you anymore," she said finally. "That's because you never bothered to know me," I said, setting down my keys. She flinched like I'd hit her. "I'm your sister," she snapped. "You don't just erase people." "I didn't erase anyone," I said calmly. I walked away. "That's different." She looked around again, then back at me. "You think this makes you strong?" "No," I said. "I think it makes me free." "You abandoned your family," she hissed. "And for what? Some fixer-upper and a wind chime." I almost smiled. There it was. The real voice behind the performance. Bitter. Entitled. Unmasked. She kept going. "Mom's a mess. Dad's not sleeping. The kids think you're mad at them." I leaned against the counter. "Are you here because you care, or because no one's left to clean up the fallout?" She didn't answer. "I paid off your car," I continued. "Helped you move 3 times. Took the calls when your ex showed up drunk. Watched your kids when your sitter quit. I didn't say no for years. And the first time I did, you made it about betrayal. You bought a house and shut us out," she whispered. "No," I said again. "I bought peace. And I don't owe you rent in it." That one landed. She stared at me for a long time. Then, quietly, "This isn't over." "No," I said. "It's just the part where you don't get a key." I opened the door and waited. Eventually, she walked through it. Didn't slam it. Didn't say goodbye. Good. 2 weeks passed without contact. Then the envelope arrived. Plain white. No return address. Just my name printed neatly. Inside was a letter typed. Not from Lauren. Not from Mom. From a law office downtown. It was polite, almost overly so. This letter serves as a formal request from Ms. Lauren Winslow for assistance regarding the previously co-signed vehicle loan, which has entered delinquency. In the interest of preserving credit integrity and avoiding legal recourse, she is requesting your immediate cooperation in resolving the balance or assuming full responsibility. It was laughable. formalizing her mess into paperwork like that would suddenly make it my duty again. I didn't respond. Instead, I printed the email from last year when I told her, in writing, that I was removing myself from any future financial entanglements. I'd sent it after her last emergency when I had to Venmo her rent money on a Sunday night. I mailed a copy of that email back to the law firm. Nothing else. No note. No signature. No check. A few days later, a new email came in. Subject line, "You've changed, Mark." No greeting. No salutation. Not the brother I remember. Not the person who used to help without question. I don't know who you are now, but it's not someone I'd want my kids around. This bitterness? It's going to eat you alive. I closed the laptop. That night, I sat on the back porch with a beer and a full moon above the yard I'd finally landscaped. I watched the wind roll over the grass like it had somewhere better to be. They wanted me to feel guilty. But I didn't feel guilty. I felt done. Not angry. Not cruel. Just finished. I was no longer theirs to guilt into service. No longer the built-in plan B. They wanted me back in the role they chose. But I'd rewritten the script. And in this version, I never said yes again. Jenna was next. Yes, Jenna. Lauren's friend. The cool aunt. The one who always wore too much perfume and drank her wine like water at every family gathering. We'd barely spoken in years. She'd been married. Then divorced. Then back around every holiday like she never left. This time she emailed me. "Hey stranger. Lauren's worried about you. We all are. You were the glue, you know? Don't let pride keep you from reconnecting. We're in this together, right?" I stared at that sentence. We're in this together. Interesting phrase considering they'd built an entire family narrative where my role was silent service, not shared struggle. I didn't respond. But it got me thinking. If they were really in this together, then maybe I should let them handle it together too. So I called the bank. Asked for a full payment record on the SUV loan. Confirmed what I suspected, that Lauren had stopped paying 3 months ago just before I bought the house. She'd known what was coming. She'd planned to offload it on me the moment I gave them access again. This wasn't about family. It never was. It was about assets. Reliability. Infrastructure. I was the backup battery they expected to keep running long after the power shut off. I called a lawyer. Quietly. Carefully. Asked what I could do to sever every last legal tie. Loan cosign, insurance, anything still tethered to them. He said it would take time. But it was doable. "I'm not looking to punish anyone," I said. "I just want to make sure they can't reach into my life again." He paused, then said something I'll never forget. "You're not burning the bridge, Mark. You're finally building the fence." Exactly. That weekend, I walked the edge of my backyard with a measuring wheel and a notepad. And for the first time since I moved in, I wasn't thinking about what they'd say. I was thinking about where to put the gate. Lauren showed up again. This time with backup. Mom. They stood at the edge of my driveway like it was a crime scene and I was the suspect. I watched them from the porch. Didn't move. Didn't speak. Lauren folded her arms. "You gonna make a stand here like strangers?" I didn't invite them up. That was answer enough. Mom took a step forward anyway. "Mark, this has gone far enough. We're family. We don't ice each other out over misunderstandings." I stayed quiet. Lauren took that as permission to start talking. "Do you really think cutting everyone off makes you a hero?" she asked. "You think buying a little house and ghosting your blood makes you strong?" Still, I said nothing. "You really think you're better than us now?" she snapped. There it was again. That word. Better. That's what this had always been about. Not hurt. Not abandonment. But the fact that I'd stepped outside the orbit they controlled. They didn't care that I had a mortgage. They cared that I didn't ask permission. "You never wanted a family," Lauren continued, voice rising. "You just wanted something to own. And now that you've got it, you think you don't need us." I stood. Walked down the steps slowly. Stopped 3 feet from her. "I didn't ghost you," I said. "I didn't block you out. I just stopped being available for your consequences." She opened her mouth to argue. I raised a hand. "You're not mad that I changed. You're mad that I changed without your approval. That I didn't explain or defend or beg. That I made a choice that didn't include you." Mom looked like she was about to cry. Lauren just looked furious. "You want to punish us," she hissed. "No," I said. "I just finally realized that help and servitude aren't the same thing." And with that, I walked back inside and closed the door. Didn't slam it. Didn't lock it. Just let it click shut. 3 minutes later, I watched them drive away from the front window. They never even looked back. The final plea came wrapped in threat. A letter handwritten again, but this time in Lauren's unmistakable tone, that cocktail of drama, desperation, and just enough venom to sting. "You may think this makes you strong, Mark. But it doesn't. It makes you heartless. You've cut off your family like we're strangers. But guess what? Life has a way of circling back. You'll regret this someday when you're older. When you need someone. When you realize that independence doesn't keep you warm at night. I folded the letter once and slid it into the back of the drawer next to the water bill. Not because I wanted to keep it, but because someday I might need the reminder of exactly why I stopped answering. That night I sat in the yard, phone off, watching the solar lights kick on one by one. This was the first space I'd ever owned where no one expected anything from me. No last-minute calls. No unpaid debts. No emotional strings braided into just checking in messages. And they hated that. Not because they missed me, but because they missed what I did for them. That's when I finally saw it clearly. I wasn't loved. I was leveraged. All those years of being the strong one, the reliable one, the safe choice, they weren't compliments. They were contracts. Ones I never signed, but they still enforced. And now that I'd walked off the job, they wanted compensation. Too late. They forgot something critical. I don't make threats. I don't scream. I don't slam doors. I plan. And I was already a step ahead. The real revenge didn't come in fire or fury. It came in formality. A clean, quiet letter, this time from me. I sent it certified with delivery confirmation. Inside was a single page. To whom it may concern. This is formal notice that I am no longer financially or personally responsible for any individual or party outside of my legal obligations. I will not co-sign, lend, house, or sponsor requests made through family channels. Future inquiries should be directed to the following. Attached, the contact card for a financial advisor in town. Sincerely, Mark Winslow. No threats. No emotion. Just structure. I didn't tell them I was done. I showed them with systems. Blocked Lauren's number. Blocked Mom's. Created a new inbox filter to redirect anything with their names into an archive folder I'd never open. Then I changed the deed settings on my home to restrict lien access. Updated my emergency contact at work. Cut the last thread quietly. I was no longer part of their foundation. And without me, the cracks started spreading fast. I heard through a former neighbor that Lauren's SUV got repossessed. That Mom and Dad started renting out their basement just to cover bills. That Lauren applied for a personal loan using me as a reference and got flagged for fraud. None of that was my business anymore. They built a life that depended on me holding up the corners. And when I let go, it collapsed. Not because I sabotaged it, but because I finally walked away. It came 1 year later, almost to the day. An envelope in my mailbox. No return address, but I recognized the handwriting. Inside was a photo. Christmas morning. Lauren and her kids sitting on the floor. No tree. Just a folding table with a store-brand tablecloth and paper plates. No dad. No mom. On the back, written in permanent marker. You can't just erase family, Mark. No signature. No ask. Just a snapshot meant to wound. But here's the thing, it didn't. Because what Lauren still didn't understand is that I hadn't erased anything. I'd removed myself from a system that treated me like infrastructure. And now, for the first time, I was living on my terms, not theirs. I tucked the photo in the back of the drawer with her old letter and shut it gently. Then I got in my truck and drove to the coast. No holiday plans. No obligations. Just me, the road, and a place I'd found last spring, a small cabin off Route 12, where the ocean feels like it belongs to no one. I spent the weekend there. No phone. No email. No noise. And on the second night, sitting by the fire with a cup of black coffee and nothing to check, I realized something. They didn't miss me. They missed access. Missed the benefits of my silence. The reliability of my guilt. But they never asked what I needed. Never checked when I was tired. Never offered anything they couldn't deduct later. And now that the withdrawals had stopped, they called it abandonment. I called it balance. They never saw the last move coming. Because it wasn't dramatic. It wasn't loud. It was paperwork. I met with a lawyer, a notary, and a CPA. Quiet morning. Window blinds drawn. No one else knew. Together, we amended the will I drafted years ago, the one that, out of habit, still listed Lauren's kids as partial beneficiaries. I replaced them. Every line. Every clause. The new document named a local youth literacy foundation. One that gave scholarships to kids from homes like the one I grew up in, tight budgets, quiet strength, no safety net. The money that once would have gone to Lauren's children, the same ones I used to babysit, tutor, feed while she was figuring things out, that money would now go to strangers. Because blood alone doesn't entitle anyone to your future. After I signed, the lawyer slid the papers into a folder. You sure you want this locked in? He asked. Absolutely. The next day, I boxed up the last of my storage items still sitting in their garage. Hired a courier to pick them up. Didn't go in person. Didn't leave a note. And just before the year ended, I mailed one final envelope, this one to Lauren, no return address. Inside? Just the business card of the financial advisor I'd sent months earlier. Same name. Same number. Same silence. No letter. No signature. Because there was nothing left to explain. I wasn't angry. I wasn't bitter. I was done. This was never about revenge. It was about release. And when I finally chose peace over proximity, they noticed. But far too late.